Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here, welcome back to another Destiny 2 video, and in this video I wanted to put together a quick guide to tell you guys how to get the Legend of Acrius or Legend of Acrius, depending on how you pronounce it. This is the exotic raid shotgun. It is a very powerful weapon. It has a single shot, fires one very wide arc blast, and that's capable of killing multiple enemies in a single shot. It's also got really long range as well for a shotgun, so it's an incredibly fun weapon to use, but also the way in which you acquire it is actually quite interesting. You'll get the weapon early on in the quest chain, and you'll be able to use it and have it as an exotic. However, you haven't unlocked its full potential. When you first get it, you just have the intrinsic perk. You need to complete the remaining quest line in order to fully unlock the weapon. So, with that being said, let's go over how you get it. So if you do enjoy this, you do find it helpful, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions, but let's get started. First things first, the early steps some of you guys should be familiar with by now, but as a quick recap, you need to hit level 20 and complete the campaign. And once you've done this, in general open world play, whether you be roaming around doing public events, adventures, even in strikes or nightfalls, if you're killing Cabal, they have a chance to drop an item called On the Comms. It seems to drop pretty easily, so provided you're just playing the game, you know, fighting Cabal, just doing activities, then you'll encounter it relatively early on. Once you've then done that, the item will require that you collect 5 Red Legion communications, and in order to do this, you simply have to kill more Cabal. Now, sometimes when you kill them and it will drop thick and fast, you might get like 1, 2, or 3 back to back. Other times, there might be a bigger gap between the next one you get, but either way, again, do public events, strikes with Cabals in, or adventures, anything where you're just fighting Cabal, be it Scions, Dogs, normal Legionaries, anything like that, they have a chance to drop. And then once you go to 5, that will then switch over to the third step of the quest, which is to await the World Eater. Now that the raid has arrived, we of course know the World Eater is the Leviathan raid itself. So when you enter the raid, the next step of the quest auto-completes itself, and you are then required to complete the raid. So upon doing that and defeating Emperor Callus, you will see on the side of the screen that it updates. Apologies, my face cam's there, so it's a little bit hard to see, but that is the icon for the completed quest. What you now do is you go to the tower, and there is a new vendor here. This is also the vendor where you trade in your raid tokens to get some gear or some engrams. However, the first time you go back, you will then have the quest updated, and it will require you to go and do a version of the Arms Dealer Strike. Now, in order to do this one, what you do is you load into the EDZ, you drop to the nearest landing zone, go over to the blue quest marker, and you interact with it. Now, before you go in, it's worth calling out that this is a Prestige difficulty Nightfall. It is 300 recommended light, it's locked loadouts, and it has a couple of modifiers. Your modifiers are Prism, which you guys should be familiar with. This is the one where the element rotates throughout the fight, and if you use corresponding element weapons, you do more damage. If you use mismatching element weapons, you do less damage, and of course kinetic is unaffected. So that you should be familiar with. However, the other one is the Temporal Anomaly modifier. Bear in mind, Nightfalls in general are timed, and if you do Prestige ones, you start with about 7 minutes on the clock. In order to regain time in this one, there are these anomalies hidden around the map. They're these little kind of Vex-looking blue glowing orbs. If you shoot them, they will give you 30 seconds. The only difference with these ones versus, say, the time rings is that they're actually hidden. They're quite hard to find sometimes. Once you know what you're looking for, sometimes there's a distinct blue glow, and also on the side of the screen, it will say anomaly detected, so you'll know that it's in the vicinity. So go around, look behind boxes, look off ledges, shoot those to regain your time as you're going through. It's worth noting, I don't know whether this is a bug or whether it is intentional to try and give people more time, but about halfway through the strike, once you get to the room where you're fighting a load of enemies, and of course there are the turrets up on the walkways, when you get about partway through this, you'll just get a bunch of time. Now, I don't know whether this is because any of the anomalies you've missed have despawned or something like that, but I've done this run 3 times with different people, and every single time in this room, we're down to about sort of 3 or 4 minutes, and then suddenly it just jumps up to like 7 minutes. So either way, work your way through, complete this, search for anomalies, defeat the boss, and upon doing that, you will then get the Legend of Acrius shotgun. This is a beast. But, as mentioned, it's not finished there. If you inspect it, you will see it literally just has the intrinsic perk. It is still very good, it's still very powerful. I use this to one-shot a lot of enemies, but it can get better. So, for this part, you then go back to Benedict, you speak to him again in the tower, and then after that, you are required to go and kill Cabal. 3 different ways. The first thing you need to do is simply eliminate Cabal, 25 of them, that's easy. The second one is to eliminate Cabal at close range. Again, easy, it's a shotgun. Admittedly, this one does have good range, but still, it's a shotgun, no big deal. And the third one is to eliminate multiple Cabal without reloading. It's also not difficult, but bear in mind this shotgun has 1 single shot, so that shot needs to count. It's a wide arc blast, so provided you are standing and there are kind of 2 Cabal near each other, generally speaking, it's very easy to do that. So I would recommend picking up, say, a public event, go to the EDZ, drop down to Winding Cove. That one is a really easy one. I did most of mine on that one, and you then just shoot them as they're coming towards you. You will easily clear this up. Upon completing that, you go back to Benedict, and he will then take you to the next stage of the quest, and this is where everybody is right now because it's going to require multiple raid completions. See, the next stage requires that you collect 100 Emperor Seals. Now, these should not be mistaken with Emperor Tokens. Emperor Tokens are the ones that you trade into Benedict in order to get your reputation up, get your reward packages, and get engrams. Meanwhile, Emperor Seals are things you learn from certain actions within the raid. Opening a door will give you 5 seals, opening a chest will give you 13 seals, and defeating Callus will give you 15. Now, that's a total of 74. However, at the moment, when people are completing it, it's not counting up exact numbers. So I don't know whether that's a bug or if it's a percentage thing, but after collecting, say, 74, people are finding they've completed the raid and it's still only saying they've done like 9. So if that's the case and it's intentional, then it's going to be a few weeks before anyone maxes this out. Now, in my opinion, I think it is intentional simply because of the next step. While nobody's there right now, if you pay attention to the Destiny Tracker database, it does state that the next step, after speaking to Benedict again, will require that you complete the raid on Prestige difficulty. Now, hard mode difficulties for these raids typically release a few weeks later, sometimes even a month later, so it might well be that we genuinely have 2 to 3 weeks to complete this stage of the quest, and then by the time the Prestige comes around, we can complete it and then finish up the weapon. But either way, the final step is to complete Prestige difficulty raid, and upon doing that, you'll return to Benedict, and he will give you the fully maxed out version of the weapon. Now, of course, you can't see the perks here, but thanks to the database, I can recap for those of you guys that want to know. On top of that, you'll also have Full Bore, which is a barrel optimized for distance. It greatly increases your range, decreases your stability, and slightly decreases your handling speed. You have Accurized rounds, where the weapon can fire longer distances and increases range. You have Long March, where you can detect enemies on your radar from further away. And you have Fitted Stock, where this stock makes the weapon stable but heavy, increases your stability, moderately controls recoil, and slightly decreases handling speed. So, that will be what the weapon is like once you've fully upgraded it, but by the looks of things, it's going to be a few weeks before anyone gets there. So for the time being, complete the raid, work through the Cabal Killer stage of the quest, start collecting your tokens, because of course the sooner you can start doing that, the sooner you can get towards the Prestige step of the quest, and then you'll be ready for when it drops. So, that's pretty much all you need to know. That's what the weapon looks like, that's how it plays, and that is how the quest plays out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you have any questions, by all means drop them down below. Thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.